Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in today's video, we have more good news for certain beneficiaries of Social Security, as some beneficiaries may have previously thought they would owe thousands of dollars to the Social Security Administration. Well, we have some good news that came out just yesterday. Plus, Jon Stewart is facing backlash online after bashing the former president and Donald Trump in something that he was allegedly accused of doing in New York and now owes hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. Well, internet sleuths found that he was doing allegedly sort of exactly the same thing. So we're going to be diving into that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm. And also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 5 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and that involves Jon Stewart, the late night talk show host. And he was, since really over the past several years, he's been bashing Trump. Not the biggest fan of Trump, obviously. And, well, I guess right now Trump is actually in New York, and he's facing a civil trial over, defrauding New York taxpayers allegedly over some of his schemes in real estate based on the values of his properties. And well, internet sleuths actually found out that Jon Stewart, allegedly was doing sort of a similar thing. So according to the New York Post, Jon Stewart benefited by 829% overvalue of his New York City home, even as he labels Trump's civil case not victimless. So comedian Jon Stewart ranted this week that Donald Trump's civil real estate case overvaluing his properties was not victimless, yet when it came to his own home, Stewart benefited from a similar inflation. On Monday night, Stewart, 61, unpacked Trump's $454 million appeal bond, calling out experts framing the former president's New York civil case as not causing direct harm to any individual. To further his point, Stewart argued that money isn't infinite. A loan that goes to the liar doesn't go to someone who's giving a more honest evaluation, so the system becomes incentivized for corruption. Stewart also contended that failing to declare a higher market value on a property while paying taxes based on a lower assessed value constitutes fraudulent behavior. Stewart said, quote, "The Attorney General of New York knew that Trump's property values were inflated because when it came time to pay taxes, Trump undervalued the very same properties." He went on to say it was all part of a very specific real estate practice known as lying. But of course, it didn't take long for internet sleuths to look into Stewart's own property history, which shows his New York City penthouse sold for 829% more than its assessed value, records confirmed by the Post reveal. In 2014, Stewart sold his 6,280 square foot Tribeca duplex to financier Parag Pandey for $17.5 million. The property's asking price at that time is not available in listing records. But according to the 2013-2014 assessor records obtained by the Post, the property had the estimated market value at only $1.882 million. The actual assessor valuation was even lower at $847,174. Records also show that Stewart paid significantly lower property taxes, which were calculated based on that assessor valuation price, precisely what he called Trump out for doing in his Monday monologue. So much of the same thing there. And then, of course, we had Tim Pool take to X. He said, "Did Jon Stewart commit fraud when he sold his penthouse for $17.5 million. New York listed its market value at $1.8 million at around $800,000. Who did he defraud? I am shocked. Shocked." Then, of course, Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, demanded that Jon Stewart be investigated also. She said, "It makes me so angry," and he was on the PBD podcast just a few days ago. And she said, "Is he going to be investigated for 3 years? Where are you, Tish? You going to go after your own? No one is above the law. Show me. Why don't they use the same consumer statute like they used against Trump?" So she's saying that also if you're going to go after Trump, you should not be selective about who you go after. And she believes that Jon Stewart should be investigated as well and fined by the state of New York. But let me know your thoughts in comments below on that. And in our final news piece of today's video, that involves Social Security. And in today's video, we have more good news for Social Security, because over the past several months, there's been some beneficiaries of Social Security who've been getting very scary letters from the Social Security Administration saying, hey, you owe us $10,000, $20,000, all the way up to, say, like $80,000 and even more dollars. And this is because over the years, the Social Security Administration has been overpaying that particular person. And in certain cases, it may not be actually fraud on that person's part. It may be just like an error on the Social Security Administration's part, and because of that, they're sending more payments than what they should be, and now they're saying, hey, you owe us like $60,000 back. And let's face it, probably most of these people are not going to have $60,000 sitting around in their checking account to pay back the Social Security Administration. And the Social Security Administration was telling these people, like, hey, if you don't pay us back within like 30 days, then we're just going to withhold your Social Security payments and you're not going to receive anything else. And for someone who relies completely 100% on their Social Security check each and every month, to not receive anything would just be absolutely scary. How are they supposed to pay their rent? How are they supposed to pay their groceries, gas, and other bills? This is a very, very scary situation. And nothing was really being done about it until it was kind of brought to light by the media. And eventually, it was kind of brought to light from the media to the government. And eventually, the Social Security Administration finally decided to do something about it. Yes, they are still going to collect some of the overpayments, but they are not expecting 100% of the amount. Instead, they are just expecting 10%. So obviously some pretty good news there. So according to CNN, Social Security slashes the amount of overpayments beneficiaries must pay back. So these Social Security recipients will now have to pay back much less if they were inadvertently overpaid. The Social Security Administration announced Friday that it will no longer automatically withhold 100% of the overpayment amount from recipients' monthly benefits. Instead, it will collect 10% or $10, whichever is greater, to recover the overpayment. There will be limited exceptions, such as when an overpayment resulted from fraud, and the change applies to new overpayments, but those already having more than 10% of their benefits withheld can contact the Social Security Administration to discuss reducing the rate. Beneficiaries who would like a rate lower than 10% will be approved if the overpayment will be recovered within 60 months rather than the former deadline of 36 months. And the Social Security Administration has been under fire lately for mistakenly overpaying beneficiaries and then clawing the money back. Several news outlets have reported on the issue, and a House Ways and Means subcommittee held a hearing on it last fall. So I have a couple of different concerns there. The first concern, on my behalf at least, is they do mention there that it's only going to be on new overpayments. So I guess from here on out. So if you were overpaid before, presumably you would still possibly owe more than the 10% amount. They do say that you can call in and try to negotiate that. Hopefully, even people who were overpaid in the past can get that negotiated down to 10%. And also, what about those people who, maybe they were overpaid by like $15,000 and they already paid back the entire $15,000 to the Social Security Administration? In those cases, should they get some of the money back? Should they get like 90% of what they paid back in? Because for new ones now, they only had to pay in 10% of the amount they were overpaid. So I guess it could be a little bit unfair to those that already paid back the Social Security Administration in full if they actually had the money there to pay them back. But definitely have a lot of questions. We'll probably know more as time goes on. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.